Okaeri nasai minasan. Today we're gonna talk about Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger episode 20, and oh my god, I love this episode, and I love not only because like the CG is good, like they didn't actually drop any quality from the previous episode, so that is really subarashi. But I think one of the things that is really amazing in this second arc of the story is that the message that they want to tell, like the story that they really want to tell moving forward for Ohsama Sentai. In the first half of the story, it actually felt kind of boring for me, not gonna lie, because it's like they're fighting a villain that they know they can defeat as long they actually have a bigger guns and a bigger weapon or a bigger Zord, whatever you want to call it. So we actually get to see King-Ohger being born, and then we get to see Legend King-Ohger, and then we get to see like what after Legend is Extreme King-Ohger, after Extreme King-Ohger is God King-Ohger. Like all they did is to just kind of like keep on leveling up their Zords and destroying the Bugnarak, but that is not the case for the second half of the series. Okay, so for the first two episodes of chapter 2 of season 2 of Ohsama Sentai, we don't actually get to see them using King-Ohger at all. So in the previous episode, King-Ohger is nowhere to be found, and in this episode, King-Ohger is nowhere to be found as well. And I'm really happy that we don't actually get to see King-Ohger in every single episode. Like we don't need to see that. And I just felt like because they don't need to do all the King-Ohger scene, all the Zord scene, they can actually spend much more time like focusing on kind of like polishing the different parts of the show, like the pacing, the storytelling, like even the rotoscoping, the green screen, everything just like I think like it just went up another level when they cut out the Zord completely. But obviously eventually we're gonna see the Zord coming back into action again, because this is a Power Ranger show, this is a Super Sentai show, and you cannot do without a Zord fight in every few episodes. So maybe eventually we are gonna see a Zord fight, okay? But when is that gonna happen? I think it is when the intragalactic insect actually realize that, hey, this human and Bugnarak, they cannot be dealt with so easily. They cannot be kind of like they like all the thing that they throw at them just to make them like fight one another actually make them stronger with like among one another. And that is gonna be really interesting for us to actually see. That is the moment that the Zord is gonna make a return, because the enemy is gonna result in violence again. So I'm really excited to actually see that when it actually happened. But with that being said, let me move on with the thing that really got me in this episode. I felt like this episode did a really amazing job as well in kind of like telling us what we missed for over the last 2 years, like the 2-year time skip, especially in terms of Gira and Jeremy. I felt like their relationship grew really close with one another, and it almost felt like Jeremy kind of like became a second protagonist of the show, like with how he is supposed to lead the Bugnarak to form an alliance with the humans, something like that. And it really touches my heart when I actually see like, hey, like both Gira and Jeremy actually grew as a person, actually grew as a character. Gira is aware, like he is really aware that these 4 kings is asshole. Okay? They are asshole of the asshole. So it's like they are gonna prioritize their own kingdom. They're gonna do everything in their power for their own kingdom, for their own peoples. And that is something that Gira is actually worried about when he actually saw what happened in this episode when they switches bodies, something like that. So that is really interesting. But I think one thing that really got me in this episode is Jeremy, okay? Like when the citizen of Sugar Dam actually like was worried about like the Bugnarak, like, hey, like are they okay and all those stuff. It really like, wow, that really touches my heart to actually see that they are actually going for like the more story-driven arc of the story, so that is really, really amazing. I think even like the relationship between Dibowski and Himeno, like how they are able to understand one another, is really, really amazing. Hopefully, I think, if not mistaken, by the end of this episode, when we see Sebastian once again, he is no longer fat. So we are gonna see that whether or not they're gonna carry forward the fat joke into the third episode or not. But that is really, really interesting. Okay, so the next thing I think is I one thing that I love is Rita and Yama. Okay, I think their acting is on point, especially Rita when she is when Yama is in the body of Rita. I think Rita, the actress of Rita, managed to capture the spirit of Yama really, really spot on. Like we actually get to see Rita doing an amazing job as kind of like Yanma, something like that. But what about Yanma as Rita? Okay, like I think Yanma as Rita also is quite good, but it also seems like she is shouting a lot rather than like I know she shout sometimes occasionally, like she was like and all the stuff. That is what we saw for the first arc of the season of Ohsama Sentai, but we don't actually get to see like Rita actually cursing at someone most of the time, but we actually get to see like Yanma cursing at people. Like I mean, like the actor of Yanma cursing at people using like when Rita is actually in the body. So I'm not sure whether or not that is like kind of like a character development thing. Like for the time skip, the 2-year time skip, we didn't actually see like their relationship growing closer with one another, and the rest of the king is not even surprised to actually see the face of Rita. Okay, like yeah, I thought like they never saw her face and all the stuff, but I guess not. Okay, I guess they know how Rita actually looks like, and the most important thing is like Yanma didn't actually make fun of Rita for laughing Mofun at all. So I think it is also kind of like a how do I say, it's kind of like a wide public knowledge that the king, or should I say the queen of Gokhan, love Mofun. I think that is really, really interesting as well. But I think let's talk about the actor's performance. Okay, I feel like when Gira is acting as like very similar to Jeremy, like how he always squint his eyes like that. So it is nah, man. It doesn't go well for me. I think it's because like the eyes of the actor of Jeremy, it's really huge, really, really huge. His eyeball is like damn huge. Okay, so he is able to do the squinting eyes to just make his eye looks in kind of like normal looking size. But when Gira tries to do it, it almost seems like he lost his eyes, something like that. So you know, like that is quite interesting as well. But I feel like there's nothing really much to talk about the differences between Gira and Jeremy in terms of acting, other than the eye squinting thing. But one thing that I need to mention is like why did Jeremy actually put the founder's crown on his face is because every time he henshin, he actually put the Gaigo blades in front of his eye, in front of his face when he henshin. So when he henshin into like the founder's crown, that is why he actually put the crown on his face as well. Okay, like he's not stupid. Okay, like that is just how he was used to when he actually henshin. And I think the biggest acting performance we actually get to see in this episode is gotta be Himeno as Kaguragi and Kaguragi as Himeno. Okay, I think the two of them did a really, really amazing job, like in capturing the spirit of each other. I think definitely the MVP is the two of them, but you know, it's always just a preference. Okay, I just love Rita like a lot. But with that being said, let me talk about the ending of this episode, because I felt like wow, they really managed to capture the tension at the end of this episode. Like we actually get to, when we see them switching body, like I think none of us actually is gonna take this episode that seriously, because like hey, like even I said that hey, this episode is gonna be fan service and all those stuff, but holy shit, the way they ended this episode is it really sent chills down my spine when we actually get to see the retainer was being teleported in front of them, and all of them actually attack the king itself. So that is, oh my god, like that literally like what the hell just happened, you know, like Nani the F just happened, and it really makes me like, oh whoa, this is crazy, man. Like they managed to kind of end it as such a cliffhanger and teases us that next episode is gonna be more intense, more crazy. We actually get to see a lot of like chaos happening, and I think that is the beauty of phase 2 of Ohsama Sentai, because this is kind of like when you cannot destroy them with violence, you try to destroy them by making them fight one another, something like that. So that is something really insane. Okay, like hopefully we get to see something smart, something really creative in the story writing perspective. Like I know, like when they try to inflict internal conflict, it's always really easy to end the conflict by like, hey, I accept you, let's push this aside and just focus on the big bad, something like that. I think when they did that, the story is definitely gonna be in total chaos. Okay, but with that being said, that is all from me. Very short video, nothing really much to talk about here. I think like it's a well executed episode. That is all I want to say. Okay, but with that being said, if you made it this far into the video, I would greatly appreciate it if you comment the word. What would be a good word today? Okay, so change of heart. Okay, change of heart. Why change of heart? Because I think it just kind of reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like when there's this card called change of heart, like you can actually steal one monster from your opponent's battlefield and use it as your own for, I think, for one turn or like forever. I forgot already, but that is a really asshole card. It kind of like changed the entire flow of the battle with one single card. So that is really crazy. But with that being said, that is all from me. Hope you enjoy, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Goodbye.